speech. Red carpet initially started with a few mentions around, stun grenades and those type of things, but it was definitely dominated by Thuli Madonsela and her Gertjan Coetzee yellow dress. Yeah. Just mostly people saying how stunning she looked, and comparisons to Bonang Mathebe. So there was mostly conversations around her and the way she looked.
Thuli Madonsela versus Bonang Mathebe. Yes. It's quite a
seeing as Bonang wore a dress from her a few years previous.
And last night, actually, Bonang Mathebe was at an event. She was also wearing a Gertjan Coetzee.
Exactly. So a few of those comparison photos came up.
If we look at the overall sentiment of SONA, could you sum that up? I mean, what comes up to sort of highlight overall sentiment?
So there was a lot of neutral conversation, obviously, as is always the case in social media, but that was mostly to people just retweeting or not commenting, but just pushing out what President Zuma said. But the sentiment was definitely negative in the emotive conversation side, and that was across all races, all genders, all locations and provinces. So mostly negative. We saw only about a 0.5% positive conversation, and that was linked to Thuli Madonsela and a few people thanking President Zuma for the speech.
All right, how do you track something like that? If you talk about the negative comments, and I mean, what do you pick up on? Is it the hashtags?
Yeah, so we track everything from the hashtag. We'll put in words like Zuma, President, obviously hashtag SONA 2016. When Zupta Must Fall came out, we entered that in. And then we actually have people, we're a crowdsourced platform, so we had actually people looking through those mentions, which really helped in terms of the sentiment because of, like I said earlier, sarcasm and jokes coming through, and it's really hard to decipher whether people are being positive or negative. So we employed our crowd to the early hours of the morning to actually be able to do that, yes.
If we take South Africa as a brand, with the heightened critique of the SONA, especially at the interest of last night, as well as what's been happening in recent weeks, if you look at Brand SA, how do we look? Can you track something like that?
We didn't actually look at how the international market sees us. But if you have to use South Africa as the benchmark, unfortunately, is looking in terms of especially President Zuma and what's going on in our government at the moment. It's not looking positive, unfortunately. Data states that. So that's the only way I can answer that question, unfortunately. And so what topics that came up last night as well from the international point of view was the value of the rand.
Okay.
So it started off actually positive with a positive increase, and then as the speech went on, it started dropping and showed a negative, which I think links to what people are thinking.
Yeah. All right, Melanie Malherbe, MD of Brand SA, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for your time.
All right, well, we'll have a short break. More news coming up.